It's Wednesday, February 8th. In the headlines, it's nomination day. 456 candidates representing the Jamaica Labour Party and the People's National Party are set to get their names down on that list. In business news, Dollar Financial and Mailpack Group to pay dividend income. Regionally, oil spill reported in Tobago. And in sports, Barbados to host major triathlon events. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom. It's nomination day for Jamaica's local government candidates. Some 456 candidates representing the two major political parties, the governing Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, and the opposition People's National Party, PNP, are expected to be nominated, making them eligible to contest the local government election scheduled for February 26. The Electoral Office of Jamaica has said that candidates will be nominated between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. at designated nomination centres across the 63 parliamentary constituencies. When elected, the representatives will be a part of 13 municipal corporations. Municipal corporations are those entities at the local level through which the Department of Local Government carries out its functions within communities. Each candidate must be 21 years old or older. They should be living in Jamaica for the last 12 months before an election. Sagicor Group Jamaica Limited broke ground for the development of commercial space in Portmore, St. Catherine. It's an $8.45 billion investment. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who was on hand for the event, applauded the move, but he is calling for more. Dubbed the Portmore Promenade, the new development is slated to be the next eco-friendly hotspot in the Sunshine City. Speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony, Prime Minister Andrew Holness praised Sagicor for believing in Jamaica and for undertaking this new initiative and other developments, but he called for more.
The economy is doing well, but the economy needs to do much better. What Sagicor is doing here is laudable. But we need Sagicor to do 10 times more what they're doing. That's the reality. If we are going to catch up for the decades that we have lost, that's the reality, Jamaicans, friends, family, that's the reality. If we're going to catch up, we need to be working much harder than we are now.
Mr. Holness went on to thank other investors for their ongoing investment in the country.
I know there are other developers, other investors in the room, and I want to personally take this opportunity to thank you for the investments that you're making and to encourage you, to give you that confidence that government policy and government administration is stable and improving, and that you should have the confidence to make even more investment. As much as we believe, as I said, that this is wonderful, this is just a drop in the bucket of investments that are needed to truly make Jamaica a rapidly growing country.
He says the country is now at an upward growth trajectory that needs to be kept.
We are now at an inflection point. That is the point at which the pace of change changes rapidly. That is where we are. We don't want to disturb that. We don't want to change good government. Let me say that. We don't want to change good government. We want to keep the change that is happening, that rapid increase in development.
The Ministries of Education and Justice are continuing efforts to support and promote peace in schools across Jamaica, following the signing of an upgraded Memorandum of Understanding between the two ministries.
Initially signed in May 2022, the MOU seeks to open the door for restorative practices training in schools. Speaking Monday morning at the signing ceremony, Education Minister Favour Williams says the new agreement will facilitate an expansion of the program.
Because it is your justice to it. Social justice division will target 500 public schools. That's about 50% of the schools, the primary and high school, and lead the training of 12,500 participants, including school administrators, educators, students, parents, guardians. We've actually completed training and started this over 7,900 students, 1,109 educators, and 1,034 parents.
Minister Williams also says another 150 schools will be targeted later this month. The program is a response to the increased cluster of violence in schools and to meet the demands and skills needed for conflict resolution. Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I'm Danita Rodney.
Jamaicans are being encouraged to practice drills to ensure safe evacuation from buildings in the event of a fire. Jamaica Fire Brigade Commissioner Stuart Beckford says in most instances of a fire, people become disoriented.
We witnessed last year, a certain level of panic taking place throughout the society as a result of that 5.6 magnitude earthquake. And what we observe as first responders is that those institutions and organizations that had regular drills, whether it was fire drill or earthquake drill, they responded better to the incident. So they were less panicky, so to speak, meaning that they knew what to do and they were more orderly, and so you didn't have that sense of panic.
He says families should implement an emergency plan so that each member of the household is aware of what to do.
What you could include in that plan is, for example, again, an assembly point. So if you leave the house, you know where to go, to go. Secondly, you would want to ensure that you practice your drill, not just in the day, but also at night. Because what we know of a fact is that most fire-related deaths occur in the night. And it happens because persons are disoriented. So you're in your deep sleep, you're awakened by whatever reason, and you become disoriented.
According to the commissioner, following the earthquake in October last year, it was observed that institutions and organizations that had regular drills, whether for fire or earthquake, responded better to the incident.
We encourage, as part of your emergency plan, that you have an exit, where you will leave the building, and secondly, an assembly point. But you must also have somebody who is aware of the persons who are in the building, so that a safety officer. So they will be your safety officer. So they will be the person who know after you have an incident and persons, leave the building to make sure that they do a head count to make sure that everybody is accounted for. Because what you don't want to do is leave anybody behind.
Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, your guide through the latest happenings in the world of business. Investors can be prepared for companies to pay out dividend income. Dollar Financial Services Limited has declared an interim dividend of 4 cents per share, payable on April 5, 2024, to shareholders on record as at March 22, 2024. The ex-dividend date is March 21, 2024. Additionally, Mailpack Group Limited has advised that its board will convene a meeting on Monday, February 12, 2024, to consider a dividend proposal. Up next, Epley Caribbean Property Fund Limited, SCC, has advised that its board of directors will meet on February 13, 2024, to consider the payment of an interim dividend to stockholders. And sister company Epley Limited has advised that its board of directors will meet on February 13, 2024, to consider the payment of an interim dividend to stockholders. Dollar Financial Services Limited, for the 12 months ended December 31, 2023, reported a 64% increase in interest income totaling $1.21 billion compared to $739.74 million in the corresponding period last year. Dollar highlighted the increase in net interest income can be attributed to the successful execution of loan sales and the expansion of our portfolio. The company's assets total $3.38 billion compared to $2.24 billion earned in 2022. This was attributed to a 65% increase in loans, net of provisions for expected credit losses, closing at $2.84 billion. After expenses and taxes, net profit for the 12 months ended December 31, 2023 had a 54% increase to reach $431.39 million compared to the 2022 figure when the company earned $280.47 million. Bank of Jamaica released survey data that reveals that middle and lower income Jamaicans prefer cash as a method of payment. The National Financial Inclusion Study for 2023 final report shows that cash was the main payment method used by middle income, working class, and lower income respondents to settle bills or in-store purchases. In contrast, most upper income respondents reported using digital payment methods and, in particular, debit cards to pay bills and make purchases in store. Despite differences in penetration of the various digital payment methods, the survey indicates no rejection of any method. Primary reasons for not owning any method were a general lack of interest by 30% or more and no specific reason. Debit card had 8.9%, credit card had 13.7%, and prepaid cards had 18.1%, and mobile wallet had 16.6%. Over 12% of respondents had never heard of a prepaid card or mobile wallet. Lack of trust, security concerns, and the risk of fraud were other reasons given. Of the 4 financial mobile apps available, awareness was highest for Link at 64.4%, then ePay at 47.6%, Sagicor MyCash at 44%, and awareness lowest for NCB Quisk at 37.6%. Cash is the preferred method of payment for small business owners in Jamaica. According to the Bank of Jamaica National Financial Inclusion Study 2023 financial report, it shows that 66.4% of micro enterprises did not accept digital payments versus 10% of small enterprises. Cash was universally accepted by both micro and small enterprises. The survey found that acceptance of digital payment methods range between 5% and 34%, which is even lower with 2.2% and 10% by preference. However, businesses' preference and payment method acceptance profile may create a codependency with the public profile and vice versa. Cash was preferred because it made transactions easier, was more convenient and more tangible, and suited for small shops. During trading on February 7, 2024, the top advancing stocks covered the distribution and finance sectors on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Blue Power Group Limited shares advanced 10% for a 30-cent jump in price to close at $3.30 with 15 shares traded. ISP Finance Services Limited shares advanced 7.73% to increase in price by $2.25 to close at $31.35 with 5 shares traded. Sagicor Select Funds Limited Manufacturing and Distribution shares advanced 7.27% for a jump of 4 cents in price to close at 59 cents with 8,077 shares traded. On the declining stocks that traders experienced on February 7, 2024, the top 3 losers covered the real estate and solar power sectors. Stanley Motor Limited declined by 12.86% for a drop of 90 cents to close down in price at $6.10 with 1,730 shares traded. MPC Caribbean Clean Energy Limited JMD shares declined by 11.64% with a fall in price of $10.48 to close at $79.52 with 107 shares traded. Cygnus Real Estate Finance Limited JMD declined by 7.75% for an 89-cent price decrease to close at $10.60 with 7,084 shares traded. Trading activity on the first-tier market of the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange for February 7, 2024 registered a volume of 52,461 shares, crossing the floor of the exchange, valued at 1.67 million Trinidad and Tobago dollars. National Enterprises Limited was the volume leader with 28,986 shares changing hands for a value of 109,000 TT dollars, followed by Republic Financial Holdings Limited with a volume of 10,323 shares being traded for 1.2 million TT dollars. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies, we turn to the Forex market. On February 7, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $41.5 million was bought from Forex traders, while US $24.8 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $157.25 and bought the US dollar for $155.85. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $1.40, which represents a profit for Forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian Forex traders earned a trading profit of $1.67 from transactions with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold at $115.50 and bought for $113.83. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $6.85, selling it for $198.87 and buying it for $192.02. For our credit report tip of the day, armed with a strong credit history, you gain negotiating power when discussing terms with lenders. You can leverage your positive credit standing to secure better loan terms, repayment plans, and overall financial arrangements. And with that, we wrap up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. Appreciate your company. Stay well informed, stay ahead of the curve. Until our next update, take care.
In regional news, as the countdown continues to the May 27, May 30 staging of the 4th Conference of Small Islands Developing States in Antigua, the country's focus is on security arrangements for the event. More from ABS News.
It is anticipated the 4th International Conference on Small Island Developing States, SIDS-4, will be the most significant meeting in history happening in this twin island state. SIDS-4 will build on outcomes from the 3 previous conferences and will set the Small Island Developing States development agenda over the next 10 years. In preparation for SIDS-4, safety and security will be at the fore to ensure the conference is a success. Director of Security Lieutenant Colonel Edward Croft details plans.
The planning is progressing nicely. We have a number of professionals in terms of the various agencies, the Royal Police Force of Antigua and Barbuda, the Antigua and Barbuda Defense Force, Customs and Immigration, the emergency response, and the police will include fire, and for the maritime, the Coast Guard will include, well, ABDF will include the Coast Guard. So we're looking at ensuring that we have a 360 coverage of the area, both land, sea, and air.
Lieutenant Colonel Croft adds that in effort to ensure a coordinated response to any developments or incidents, more training will be provided.
It's a matter now of ensuring implementation of the requirements by those committees and ensuring that they respond to developments and ensure that the main committee is kept informed of the various challenges that they may have. I think we all need to make certain that if it is that there is a a limited capability, that is communicated so that a mitigating response can be done to work around that and develop another course of action.
The objective, he says, is to ensure delegates experience Antigua-Barbuda in its various forms while having a successful and productive conference. For ABS News, I'm Ursil Charles Jr.
What has been described as an extensive oil spill occurred in Tobago on Wednesday off the coast of Canoe Bay, affecting surrounding beaches. This occurred as a result of an unidentified vessel that overturned at sea. TTT News has the details.
At approximately 7:20 a.m., the Tobago Emergency Management Agency received notice of an oil spill in the vicinity of Canoe Bay. Chief Secretary Farley Augustine said emergency personnel responded to the incident. The Chief Secretary added that private divers were called in to assist with the investigation.
Led by Mr. Douglas, Alvin Douglas, and a team. They are doing the initial discovery work for the Tobago House of Assembly, and they are there to ascertain three things. One, if there were any bodies trapped in the vessel at the time of it being overturned. Two, if there are anything of significance or importance that's also trapped there in the vessel. And three, to discover the actual name of the vessel.
Tobago Emergency Management Agency Director Alan Stewart noted the emergency team is conducting a careful response plan.
A meeting going on simultaneously, and that has representatives from Ministry of Energy, from TEMA, from Kaizen, who is a premier institution when it comes to cleaning of oil spills, and we have DNRE also present in those conversations so that we can treat with the cleanup expeditiously.
The Chief Secretary stressed all hands are on deck to address the matter urgently, both at sea and on land.
Currently, the THA is using its equipment and will engage local service providers, especially in the cleanup efforts that will happen along the shoreline. We are told that some of it might be approaching or have actually approached the coastline in the Lambo area as well. The spill is extensive. Can't give an exact measurement for the width or the span of the spill at the moment. That too will be able to get to you later on in the evening.
Coast Guard officers are also part of the response efforts. Mr. Augustine explained they were unable to determine when the cleanup will be completed, as he emphasized the spill was an expansive one. He urged beachgoers and fisherfolk to display caution. Carissa Douglas, TTT News.
President Dr. Irfan Ali says it's likely that there will be a sizable number of foreign workers in Guyana in response to growing demands for labor amid a shortage of supply. And already he told private sector stakeholders that many contractors are requesting work permits to get foreign workers in that country. The Guyanese head of state said this on Monday night as he addressed the Private Sector Commission's annual dinner.
Yes, you will have, from what I'm seeing, we will have maybe a very large, very significant size of our workforce, especially our labor and semi-skilled type of workforce coming from outside of Guyana, right? The applications are already there. Every single major builder, contractor, or private sector person has an application to bring in 30 or 40 workers right now. Every one of them, 30 or 40 workers. Every new project that we are engaging in from the private sector, in the model, is bringing in workers. So that's a major part of, and that is why in the card that we're developing, we have the citizenship card, the residency card, and the work permit card. So in the digitization of the ID card we're developing, those three categories are catered for.
And in sports, Barbados will host 3 major triathlon events this year. During a media conference on Wednesday at the BTMI headquarters, the Barbados Federation of Island Triathletes officially launched the calendar of events. CBC's Anmar Goodrich Boyce tells us more.
It will be a packed schedule of triathlon events in Barbados starting from next month. The island will host the World Triathlon Americas Triathlon Cup on March 17th, the World Triathlon Development Regional Cup and Training Camp from July 2nd to 7th, and the Carifta Triathlon, Aquathlon and Mixed Relays Championships on August 17th and 18th. Newly elected president of BFIT, Dr. Garth McIntyre, says the federation welcomes international competition to Barbados' shores.
Barbados is aiming to put on a great show as the quality of this competition and the size of the event has been growing. We are expecting over 150 athletes and probably 200 to 250 supporters. Our aim, of course, is to win this event for the third time in a row on home soil. So triathlon has been on a high in Barbados for the last 2 years, and 2024 promises to take it even higher.
While pledging his support to BFIT, Minister of Sports Charles Griffith is advising the federation to acquire the services of more coaches to continue developing triathletes.
If we're going to have more Matthew Wrights and the other young lady, McIntyre, I believe her name is, then we need to have coaches who are on top of their game. We need to have coaches who take care of every single aspect of the development of our young people. So I'm not just looking at the riding, but I'm looking at the full developmental package. And government is prepared through the National Sports Council to do whatever is necessary to assist, to buttress whatever it is that BFIT is doing in terms of the developmental aspect of triathlon.
Sports manager at BTMI, Kamal Springer, says a strategic marketing plan is in the pipeline for all triathlon events, which will include cultural experiences for tourists.
It is a key part of our sports business strategy to diversify the events we bring to Barbados and to show off our coastal assets, our natural assets. The triathlon is perfect for Barbados. We have the road system, we have the beaches. We're able to do this in Barbados at a very high level. So we're very happy that this is coming here and we can showcase that across the world.
Barbados' top triathletes Matthew Wright, Luke and Layla McIntyre, and Finn Armstrong are expected to be in action, with all events being held on the mighty Guyana Highway and the Brandon's Beach. Anmar Goodrich Boyce, CBC Sports.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thank you so much for